Well, first, we're going to explain what is mental health and how does it affect it, and where does it come from. We can say that the word mental health and depression in more general is coming from the Latin word deprive, which means to press down. Depression had been first diagnosed in 19th century when it was seen by psychiatrists as a fact of that a person don't want to do anything and was seen more as a laziness than anything else. We can say that during the time since the 19th century, mental health has much more evolved and we know much about it. So we can say that the mental health isn't seen anymore as a mental illness, and depression isn't seen as a mental illness, and that in sports we can say that mental health is often neglected and that is much important. So today we're going to see on how it can be important for athletes but also for the industry.
First off, what are the 5 signs of mental health issues in athletes? First, athletes may feel pressure to hide their struggles with mental health. They may think that letting people in will disappoint the team or coaches, but they fear that they lose their profession. These are real concerns that are primarily fueled by the existing stigma around mental illness. The reality is when athletes and people in general are encouraged to be proactive about taking care of their mental fitness, they perform better. Moreover, they are more equipped to manage the pressure, anxiety and stress of their roles. So here are 5 signs that an athlete may need supporting for their mental health. So first off, we have the person who will be more introverted, so he will talk less, will seem quieter than usual, withdrawn, so frustration, hopelessness, or bad attitude. He can be a bit aggressive and angry for sometimes, decreased energy and motivation, and changes in eating and sleeping patterns.
Mental health is very important for humankind in general. There are a lot of people who are suffering from mental health issues, especially in the world of sports. They handle extreme requirements and pressure, so they can be more often and more heavily stressed than the average person. They can be pressured by stressful cultures such as packed schedules, high expectations that people can have on the athletes or the one we can have for ourselves. Lifestyle requirements also have a big impact, such as weight limits or practice, which is almost every day, so you have less time with relatives such as friends and family. The competitive environment can create strong pressure and stress for the athletes, such as considering others as opponents. They need to face other people's opinion and the strong desire to win. The tendency towards perfectionism to be the best, which are aggravated by social stigmas.
What is my purpose? Why am I doing all of this? Those were the words of Kevin Levroni, the Crown King, who was fighting in the open class as a bodybuilder in Mr. Olympia. He was first introduced as a man who stands for 1.78 m, which was average for his class, and for an impressive 122 kg for being lean. And he was for a long time neglected about his performance because he was placed second because of a corrupted industry who didn't want him to win. He then got forced to retire in 2003, explaining that all of this happened because of a mental health issue, which was coming from the fact that he was still losing all the time, and that all of this was because of a corrupted industry. He was pointing with his finger during his whole time that all of this could be avoided if people were much more careful about how they were rating or even about the sports system in general. Especially in such a place like bodybuilding, where we don't have a specific barem for everyone and that it can change from people to people. So he was explaining that all of these times that he was losing and all of this frustration and also all of this anger he has inside had led him to just stop everything he liked. And since then he said that he's thinking about these years and thinking that he didn't really have a purpose and that he regrets of doing all of this.
There's a lot of mental health problem in physical sports, but it doesn't stop there. Considered as a sport, esports is an electronic sport known as competitive video gaming. After a lot of researches, we can identify some problems related to competitive video gaming, like for example, depression, anxiety, sleep disturbance, aggressive effects, emotional disturbance, and more. Those effects can appear after a big amount playing video game and a lot of stress because of competition. This June 7th, 2023, a 19-year-old Czech Valorant player, Karel Assenbrenner, alias Tristan, disappeared and passed away. He was actually suffering from depression, but no one noticed. He was a part of the famous esports club Vitality. After this event, all esports competition now be very careful about mental health and problems that player can have.
On 8th August 2015, the Tottenham football team let a 19-year-old youngster play for the final minute of the game. The fans and the world of football immediately saw in Dele Alli an innate talent who had the capacity to be one of the greatest players. He progressed from year to year until 2018, when his momentum was halted by a thigh injury. We thought we'd see him again the following year, but the Dele Alli that the football world once knew didn't come back. Since then, he has been criticized for poor performances, injuries and controversy. Mocked by all and sundry, he has become the image of the ridiculous in modern football, seen consuming laughing gas in 2022. Nobody takes him seriously anymore. So why am I telling you his story? It's quite simple. 3 months ago, Dele Alli spoke to the overlaps mics about his past for the first time. He tells of being repeatedly sexually molested from the age of 6 by a friend of his mother who was an alcoholic. He was sent to Africa at the age of 7, where he felt mentally safe, but after a year he was sent back to England, where he started smoking at the age of 7, selling drugs at the age of 8. At the age of 11, an attempt was made on his life. He was hanged from a bridge. The hell stopped when he was adopted by a family who took care of him at the age of 12, but the mental damage was enormous, and we all see it now. We too often forget that athletes are human beings like everyone else, and in this case, we all made fun of this athlete without knowing his personal story. This is an example of the importance of mental health in sports and its influence over all types of people.
Why is the mental health of athletes stigmatized, and how did the Tokyo Olympics change it? Every day, professional athletes are exposed to criticism from people. Some of them may wonder how someone so strong can be prone to mental health problems. So they put false beliefs like prejudices, that is stigmatization. This stigma leads to a fear of expressing, which can worsen in silence. This lack of recognition even led to the death of cyclist Olivia Poulmer due to excessive pressure of competition. During the Tokyo Olympics, American gymnast Simone Biles decided to withdraw from events because she suffered from a mental disorder that causes her to lose the sense of direction when in the air. But her brave move gave many people and athletes opportunity to express their mental health problems.
It's often said that the body and mind can be separate, but as Montaigne said, these two are separate things. To live well, you have to accept the body's reason. The body, like the mind, evolves, so we have to adapt to its evolution and changes. Of course, in sport, consistency is mandatory, but accepting our limits is also essential. We mustn't tell ourselves stories, stay within our illusion, but be realistic in our physical condition, so as not to injure ourselves and to play with our limits. The rhythm of life is one of the fundamental factors in sport performance. While a healthy pace of life is good for physical fitness, it makes for a calmer mind. Take the example of great champions like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's thanks to his incredible discipline in his everyday life that he managed to stay at the top level for almost 15 years. A good mindset is the key to developing a strong self-confidence. Confidence is one one's athletic abilities is essential for performing at one's best. When athletes believe in their abilities, they are more likely to take calculated risks. Sport often requires coping with stressful situations such as the pressure of competition or public performance. A good mental attitude enables you to manage stress effectively by developing relaxation, breathing, or other things. The abilities to remain calm and focused under pressure can mean the difference between victory and defeats. Sport is often accompanied by strong emotions such as anger, frustration, fear, or euphoria. A good mental state enables you to deal with this strong emotion constructively, avoiding being overwhelmed or carried away by them. The ability to maintain a balanced emotion state promotes rational decision making and optimal performance.
In conclusion, we can say during this whole presentation that we were talking about how much mental health can be important for an athlete, especially in sports. First I wanted to say that during this whole presentation we present a lot of cases of people having bad mental health, but it's not always the case. But obviously, it's always about the bad mental, because we have to denunciate a lot of aspects of mental health treatment in sports. And we see that they already did that, and they already helped people go out about mental health in military, and now it's time for sports. Athletes suffer from a lot of mental health, and there are still people, even if they are famous, even if they have very good performances, they are still human, and we have to help them. But in sports, in some industry, in like some kind of Olympic industry, it has actually getting better with some professional and some special psychiatrists or psychologists who are actually helping the athletes. But we have to do more. We have to do more, and we have to cross the line between a depression, a severe depression, and just a bad mood. But for all of that, we all know that a good mental health always helps athletes and help performances. So we have to ask ourselves, will tomorrow athletes be better because of mental health, and how much will it cost to do all of that?